Hello and welcome to today's webinar. I'm Audrey Lewis, Marketing Specialist at Tealium, and I'll be your moderator. Before we get started, I'd like to go over a few housekeeping items. This webinar will last approximately 30 minutes and will be recorded. The recording will also be made available at the end of the session. We have some related resources available for you in the attachments and links section of the platform, so please feel free to engage with them at any point. We also want to hear your questions, so please use the Q&A feature to submit your questions at any time throughout the webinar. For any questions that we aren't able to answer live, we'll follow up with you after. Now on to today's presenters. Jake Spencer is the Director of Product Marketing at Tealium. Jake has spent the majority of his career working for enterprise technology brands in all aspects of branding, digital marketing, and web analytics. Drew Halsh is an experienced marketing technologist with a decade of experience in the digital marketing and customer data industries. At Tealium, he has enabled customers to implement the end-to-end Tealium solution and achieve long-term success with our customer data hub. And with that, let's get started. Jake, over to you.
All right, thank you, Audrey. Well, we're really happy to be here with you, Drew and myself. Drew has the fun part of this webinar, and I'm going to get everybody just kind of introduced, but Drew's going to actually walk you through the Tealium platform. But here's what we're going to go through in the next 30 minutes. We're going to just go over really quickly how Tealium drives value. So what problems that we often see our customers facing, how we help our customers solve those problems, and ultimately, where we see Tealium, our platform and product being used across marketing, data science, analytics, and IT teams. We'll talk a little bit about what makes up the customer data hub. And then, as I said, we're going to show you some action. We're going to pass it over to Drew for a demo and actually kind of give you some real world examples of how Tealium can be used to solve a number of use cases. So as always, we want to have questions as we go along. If you have any questions at any point, we might try and stop and answer them if we can. However, if we can't, we'll go through and make sure that we cover that during the Q&A portion of today's webinar. So let's first and foremost talk about how Tealium drives value, where we see our customers benefiting from using a platform like Tealium. We exist and our platform solves a pretty simple problem, but fundamentally important for the business. Tealium ultimately connects data so that you can connect with your customers. And that sounds pretty simple, but it's a problem that most enterprises are dealing with. And especially in today, looking at 2021, there's just a plethora of customer data across many different tools, technologies, sources, and the customer journey is pretty complex. Your customers might be engaging on mobile apps, web, IoT devices, OTT devices. They might be in-store or in person engaging with your brand. And it's tough to bring all that data together, really get a comprehensive view of your customer, and then deliver experiences based on that data. That's really where Tealium exists and really our mission behind our products. We believe that customer experience is the new battleground. We think that the brands that can get customer experience right ultimately will be the brands that win. And a lot of customer experience is digital. Ultimately, we think that your buyers expect you to know them. And we know this because there's a lot of stats around personalization, but one that I thought was really interesting was this one. 76% of consumers expect companies that understand their needs and expectations. Because we can't talk with our customers one-to-one anymore or even do that at scale, even if we are back to in-person shopping and in-person dining, in-person experiences, we need to understand our customers through customer data. We think that to innovate today and in today's digital first world, you really need to understand your customer through data. And to do that requires a unified approach to customer data. Customer data exists all over the place in enterprises, in your marketing clouds, DMPs, personalization tools, websites, CRM, brick and mortar, your in-store things happening with your customers, mobile apps, social display, call center. Bringing that all together is a pretty unique and tough challenge, but it can ultimately result in huge benefits in customer experience, growth, acquisition, and customer insights if you can get that right. So let's talk about how Tealium helps really quickly. So I want to go over our customer data hub just to get everybody oriented to kind of what it is that makes up the Tealium customer data hub. On the data collection and quality side, that's some of the challenges that our customers solve for, is how do I collect that customer data from all of those different sources? How do I ensure that it's trusted? We provide one single solution for both client side and server side collection. We make sure that that data is trusted, standardized in the language and format that your business and your vendors downstream that's ultimately going to provide the analytics, provide the engagement need. And that's really those two products that one we call Tealium IQ Tag Management on sort of the tag management and client side data collection side, and EventStream API Hub on the server side tag management, data collection side as well. On top of that, once you get data flowing into the system, we have a couple of tools downstream to help you make sense of that data and build it into customer profiles. That's where our CDP and predictive insights come in. That's Tealium Audience Stream CDP and Predict ML, ultimately taking those building blocks of your customer data from across all of those different apps and events and things that are going on around your business and bringing those into a unified view of your customers to build audiences and drive predictive action across every touch point and vendor in your entire digital ecosystem. Lastly, we have data management products, ultimately enabling you to own that data and extend its value across many different forms and business units in your enterprise. Ownership of data and this rich source of customer data that you've created, from collection now to building on top and creating customer profiles and audience segments. We think that you should own that data and be able to leverage that data in any way that you need across your enterprise. And so that's where data access comes in as kind of a storage and management opportunity for your business. And last but not least, integrations. We want our customers to be able to spend way less time building and managing ad hoc integrations across their tech stack. And so we really pride ourselves on having the largest turnkey integrations ecosystem to be able to allow you to work with whatever tools that might be in your ecosystem that you might be leveraging today, and ultimately enable you to really fuel a best-in-breed infrastructure and tech stack with customer data that you've kind of gone through and collected from that first touch point to building audiences to now going and activating those audiences across your ecosystem. And really what this builds ultimately is this end-to-end real-time data supply chain. That's ultimately what our products together aim to achieve, going from collection, standardizing that data, transforming and enriching it into customer profiles, integrating it across your tech stack, and then activating it for customer insight, experience, better advertising, you name it. There's a ton of use cases that you can kind of imagine with customer data. And that kind of brings us to who's using Tealium. For marketers, Tealium really helps them own their customer data for better customer experiences, better advertising, ultimately a single view of the customer that's unique to their business across all of those different data sources allows them to make their best decisions for user experience, customer experience, advertising. Who should I market to? What audience segments shouldn't I market to? That is kind of where we see a lot of marketers getting value out of Tealium. For data science and analytics leaders, really understanding and working with trusted and standardized data up front allows them to uncover insights a lot faster. And then finally, developers ultimately being able to own their customer data to power their tech stack and apps, reducing the reliance on having to build ad hoc integrations, being able to also really build that first party data up that they have across their organization to do whatever they need to with it. So I'm going to pass it off to Drew. That's our quick 5-minute intro of Tealium, and Drew's going to show you how Tealium works in action here, but I'm just going to get you set up for what you're going to see here. So same data supply chain idea that we're showing you from left to right. What Drew's going to show you is collection, first and foremost, how we go through and we collect data from web, CRM, mobile, file upload, call centers, external databases that you might have, and then bring that all into the center to identify events and audiences, and then finally send that out to activation. We'll be working with tools like Twilio SendGrid, Google Analytics, Salesforce, Google Ads, Slack, Criteo, Facebook, Centro. You'll probably see something in there that you're leveraging today for customer experience and insights, hopefully. So I'll pause there, and Drew, I'll pass it off to you for the meat of the portion here, the good part where we go into the demo and see Tealium in action.
Great, thanks, Jake. And so I'm going to share my screen just so we walk you through the Tealium overview and really an overview of the platform. So when you first entered the platform, you're greeted with the Tealium Customer Data Hub. Over on the left-hand side, you'll see the various products that make up the Customer Data Hub, but we provide you a good overview directly in the middle of the data supply chain. Now, when we think about data moving through the Tealium platform, it's really in two formats. We have one, event-level data, which may be page views, link clicks, a single call update from your call center, or a single row in a CRM file. And then we have audience stream data or visitor data. This is data that is such as the lifetime value of the customer, when their last purchase date was, a variety of other attributes you want to capture on behalf of the visitor. So when we talk about event data, we want to collect data from various data sources to help unify it in a single platform. So overall on the left-hand side, where we source data from, it may be directly from your website, it may be from your applications, a CRM file, a call center, or even in-store point of sales systems. These are all places in which we can source data from, but you can also source them from a variety of locations, such as a booking system or even a help center. And really bringing that data and making it easy to bring in is what Tealium enables you to do. Now, when a data is coming in and is feeding from different data sources, we want to make sure that data is accurate and correct. We do this with what we call event specifications. And this allows you to tailor all the events to specific what you're expecting, and then flag it if it is not coming through as what you are expecting. As data continues down the data supply chain, you give you the flexibility to enrich it and transform it before you create subsets of data and then sending it outbound. These subsets of data, if you're looking for like all events, you may want to send all of your events to your specific end vendors, but you also may want to create subsets of data such as call center events, conversion events, and orchestrate them to your downstream data destinations. We really help you bring that data in, standardize it, and distribute it in this data pipeline that makes up Tealium Customer Data Hub, and this is specifically in the event level with Tealium Event Stream. Now, moving over to visitor level data and on an audience perspective, we collect data from all of those various data sources in which you're collecting. We make sure we receive it, we inspect it, and now we're creating it and unifying it into a visitor profile. This visitor profile can be made up of all those different elements, such as when someone last viewed the site, when are they browsing, when was their last purchase of something. These visitor profiles are really customized specific to your business. Once you have those robust visitor profiles and are tracking visitors, you can create a centralized segmentation and then trigger each of those segments outbound to your different channels. Now, key benefit with Audience Stream is creating that centralized segmentation so that you can identify who's a browse abandoner, and rather creating that only in your end vendor, you're unifying it in the middle. And now you're distributing it to your end vendor. So all of your vendors are working from the same data set. You see time and time again where your display team and your social media team and your email team are all creating different segmentations on pieces of the visitor profile. The point of Audience Stream and the point of a customer data platform is to centralize it in a unified location so you can orchestrate it to your channels, and all channels are working from that same information. So whether it is a browse abandoner, a customer, a first-time customer, or even someone who's looking to purchase or hasn't purchased in 10 days and showed some intention. These are specific to many customers in terms of the e-commerce space. We can also expand this a bit more, and when we talk about how we can utilize this in the hospitality space, when someone's browsing hotel rooms and we want to see if they haven't booked in the past month. We think about the financial space and someone who already owns a checking account, but they don't own a savings account. How can we create that segmentation and with the unified data and make sure that your end vendors have that information? That provides a quick overview of the data supply chain and what you're going to see today. Let's start with sourcing of data with data sources. Now, data sources can come from a variety of places, website, mobile apps, or your call center. But we also want to make sure to give you the flexibility to bring data in from any of your other data destinations. We give you a variety of web languages and tag management systems to bring data in. We give you a variety of SDKs to bring data in from your specific mobile apps. We give you the flexibility to bring data in from your connected devices, from your communication channels or CRMs. And really the key piece in which we see customers really leveraging is around the customization with developer languages and a file import. We see developer languages being used to bring data in from an internal data warehouse. We see customers wanting to import CRM records with all of their historical customer information in a file import. We want to give you the flexibility to bring data in from anywhere so you can utilize it in a centralized location and help standardize it specifically in your business language. Now, once you have this defined from a data sourcing perspective, let's talk about bringing event level data in. So with an event stream in an event level perspective, you may want to see events. And I'm going to jump directly over to our demo site just so I can trigger a few specific events into our platform. So when we're triggering events into the platform, we'll actually receive the event. It'll be specific to your business nomenclature, and the platform will want to inspect the event to make sure it's accurate and correct. That key piece about being accurate and improving data quality is a very valuable part to bringing data in. So if we're looking at bringing data in and we see that we're able to, that this event is a valid event and it's coming directly from our website, and we see the different data elements that are coming from our website. We understand what the URL, the user agent, and a variety of other elements that are all being populated directly from every single event that is flowing through. Now, this is just a demo site, and so you're only going to see my browsing behavior, but you can imagine this is for all events coming through. You're able to have this visibility. Now, as you can see, this event is actually red. It's an invalid event for my category view. Now, I'm expecting a certain data. It's not being populated, and Tealium will help you flag that. Ensuring data quality to making sure it's accurate and correct is a key piece to making sure your data foundation is working correctly. Now, once we're streaming data in, and we're able to see them and see that specific data elements on each individual event, we want to trigger these events outbound to our end data destinations. Now, we have some currently set up, but what we really want to highlight is around the availability that we provide you for a point-and-click interface for all of the vendors, they really make up your best-in-breed marketing stack. So whether we're looking to send event-level data to your display vendors, to your email vendors, to your different social vendors or big data vendors, we want to make sure that all that data we're bringing in to Tealium's Customer Data Hub is available to you to send to your end vendors. And each of these provide you a point-and-click interface. So if you are looking to send it to your big data warehouse of all the events that you're collecting from your call center or from your point-of-sale system, that you're already bringing into Tealium's Customer Data Platform, you simply go through a standardized flow for each vendor. So if we are utilizing, to send to our Microsoft database, maybe we want to utilize Microsoft Event Hubs. We simply click in, we give you the documentation required, we'll click continue, and we provide you a simple process. You choose where it's coming from. Do I want all my call center events? Do I want my in-store events? And we tell you, and we help you through the configurations. You connect directly to your endpoint, and then we trigger the action. This is the same for every single vendor that's pre-built in our marketplace. Now, if something isn't in this vendor, we could give you the flexibility to connect your own endpoints. And so that's something that is valuable for you. But what we see over time is that you're able to track these events. And as they're sending events, whether it be to Facebook or to your Microsoft database or for any of your vendors, we give you the insight to see how many actions were fired, were there any errors, and we'll even give you a report of the errors that were happening so that you're able to see what happened. Was I missing a certain data point? Was it not sending correctly? Is my connection incorrect? We want to give you the full transparent view so that you see where your data is coming from and where it's being sent to. This gives you a good overview of event stream and how events flow through the platform. But let's get into the specifics of unifying these events into customer profiles for you to take action upon. Now, Audience Stream is our customer data platform. It gives you a good overview of what's happening in the interface. But really what we're going to focus on is on building visitor profiles, creating segmentation, and then triggering outbound to your specific vendors. Within creating visitor profiles, we give you preloaded visitor data points in which we enable you to collect out of the box. So whether it is you're understanding what lifetime browsers are they using, what's their average visit duration. These are very standard analytics data capture that we're able to enable you to collect out of the box. Now, with that, this is not the end all be all. We want to enable you to capture those specific to your industry and those specific to your business. With that, we give you the flexibility to capture attributes across all different data types. These data types may include something where you want to identify what milestone or what are they along the journey. Are they, are they just browsing? Or are they a customer? Are they, a high value customer? We want to understand maybe what the last date is that someone has purchased. We may also want to understand their purchases over a timeline. We give you the flexibility within data types to capture data that is flowing in from every single event that is specific to your business. Now, some of these customizations, when we get into it, maybe around, or these customer data points to give you some ideas, maybe around capturing visitor information. When someone fills out a form fill or signs up or completes a purchase, we want to make sure we capture their email address, their first name and last name, their customer ID, what city they're coming from. We may also want to capture, in terms of an identity piece, who's unknown and who is known, and being able to make sure that we can identify those who are unknown and just browsing versus those who are known and have been here purchased before. Now, as someone's browsing the site, we also may want to capture additional information. And other examples include what someone's browsing in terms of a category page view. Are they looking on multiple devices? Are they specifically looking at your product detail pages, or were they just staying high level on your category pages? Now, this is specific configured for an e-commerce site, but when you think about an airlines company, for example, this would be great for tracking what someone is browsing in terms of flights. What was their destination? What was their time of arrival or time of departure? As well as, for almost any organization, are they looking into the loyalty program? Are they already a part of the loyalty program? These are all valuable attributes that we want to capture as a part of their visitor profile. And then when we do reach a conversion event of some kind, we want to capture, what is their last purchased event, or what is their total purchases over time? We want to give you the flexibility to capture each of these. And now this gives you a good overview of maybe what you can capture, but how do you do it? These are all configurable in a point and click interface based on the data that's flowing in. So each of these you can edit, and then you can set enrichments based on the data that's flowing in. All of these are customized specific to your business terminology, built out in the data that you're collecting, and are unifying across all data sources. Now, once you've captured these attributes and really unifying them, this is great from all your first-party data. Another piece that I wanted to highlight is around applying machine learning directly on top of Audience Stream Customer Data Platform. Now, our machine learning product Predict, which is just over on this left-hand side here, is a point-and-click interface allowing you to define when someone needs to, or define a conversion point, and then give you the ability to apply a machine learning algorithm on top of it across all of your visitor profiles. And then output is a likelihood, or a prediction of the likelihood to do something or convert. In this case, for my target, I was utilizing a purchase, and I wanted to understand what's the likelihood for all, any individual visitor to purchase in the next 5 days. This is applied to every single visitor profile that comes in and searches the site. This is applied to everybody who's calling in, or even to your in-store visitors, from a point of sales perspective. That is extremely valuable. We just place it directly into your visitor profile, and you have machine learning directly on top of your customer data platform. That is a big benefit to you and to your teams, and so you can make it available in your audience segmentation, and you can make it available to your end vendors. So let's jump into audience segmentation now that you've got a good overview of creating a visitor profile. Your different audience segmentation is all available in a unified place. Whether you're capturing a browse abandoner, a cart abandoner, high value customer, these are places in which you're able to configure directly in the user interface. Now, within a browse abandoner, you may also want to add additional logic, right? So when was the last purchase date, and make sure that has occurred more than 10 days ago. You wanted to add the prediction piece behind it. We can add another layer in this, maybe last purchase was 10 days ago, but also is highly likely to convert in the next 5 days. That's a key audience we may want to target in a certain way to make sure that they get the best experience and they do actually convert. This is a powerful place. Now, you may be thinking, okay, well, I have some of these audiences, like I do cart abandonment within my email vendor. The piece with cart abandonment is great if you do it in your email vendor, but do all of your other vendors have access to that same segmentation? By unifying it in a centralized location, unifying it in Audience Stream CDP, we're able to orchestrate that unified visitor profile to all your vendors. You're working from the same data set, and you don't have siloed data across any of your vendors. So once you have your audience segmentation set up directly, in a unified and centralized format, we'll jump into audience connectors. Now you'll notice this user interface looks very familiar to event stream connectors, and it is because these same API connections are available on event level, but also we provide more at an audience level as well. So we'll provide you across all different vendors, whether it be analytics or display ads, email vendors, personalization, and we want to make sure that we're able to connect to your specific vendors and your best in breed stack. We want to be removed directly from the actual activation because we just want to make the best data available and make sure it's complete and accurate and correct for you to activate upon. And once again, if you're looking to connect directly, say to a specific email vendor, you simply click through. We provide configuration instructions. You click continue. You choose who you're looking to target. So in this case, if I wanted my high value customers for a segment, and then you'll go into configuration and action, and then you'll map out exactly this. Once you have this set up, we'll give you a report similar like we have in the past, and you're able to see what actions are being sent over time. So this gives you a good overview of how we create visitor profiles, build audience segments, and then trigger them outbound. But rather than just seeing the UI, let's walk through a scenario and track my specific web session. So I'm going to utilize a tool that we call Tealium Trace. This is going to track my specific web session just to make sure that I am able to that all of the data is processing correctly, and also show you what happens within Tealium. So we just placed a little tracking code directly on the site, and you'll see specific events flowing through. So here I have my page view event, my same event, that's received into Tealium. That was that sourcing of data. This is just from a website perspective, but it works the same for whether you're in a call center, a CRM update, a variety of other information that are flowing into the platform. When we receive that single update, we do a variety of things. We send out, we trigger the event stream and events to make sure end vendors get it. We create a new visitor profile. When this is the first time we've seen a customer, and we enrich that visitor profile, we add them to audiences, and we trigger all that outbound actions. This is all happening in real time, and with every single visitor that comes to the site. Over on this left-hand side, you'll see that I'm now updating my visitor profile with my different badges and my counts and my specific strings and my different audiences that I'm a part of. And so as I start browsing the site with each single event, we're continually updating that visitor's profile. So as I've clicked through, and I click through quickly, you'll see all the events coming through. Now, this tool is great. All of that happened within a matter of hundreds of milliseconds, in real time. But this tool actually has to slow it down so that we show you everything that happens within Tealium. So in this case, we've received more events, we've enriched the visitor profile, we've updated the profile on the left-hand side, and we'll even do things like identify the favorite. In this case, my favorite category that I'm browsing happens to be shirts. So we're able to capture that data based on what they're browsing over time. Going back to any of the examples, and such as a hospitality, we may want to capture, are they browsing a standard room or are they browsing a guest suite? In a variety of a banking example, we may want to understand, are they browsing checkings, or are they really looking for a mortgage? This is the type of information we're looking to capture as a part of the visitor profile, and then trigger it outbound to make sure your end vendors have that same information. Now, this is for an anonymous user. So maybe if you do log out and then you log back in, we're actually going to tie all this information together. This is just specific to tracking the device, and see, maybe I wanted to log in and check to see what is my order doing, or do I have any credit? And when I actually log in, what happens is we stitch the visitor with any pre-existing information that we have. So in this visitor stitched, I've enriched the visitor profile. I've actually have a lot more information, how I've already been a customer in the past. I have a lot more events I've purchased within a certain amount of time, and all of this is being updated to that new visitor profile. Now, if I check my information and I leave the site and simply end my session, then we'll end the session, and that'll wrap up the visitor profile. Now, if I go purchase and I go call in on the call center, we'd also want that event to come in. We'd want to say, Drew has purchased, within the past 10 days, and he's also called in specifically around making sure that his order was processing in the right way, or maybe he wanted to change sizes of what he purchased. All that information is able to flow directly into Tealium. Now, this was just my own visitor session. This happens for every single visitor across all of your visitor profiles. As data is flowing in, every single visitor is getting enriched. Every single visitor is building that visitor profile, and we're sending data out. This is a huge thing to do in real time, and a huge amount of data, and it's specific, customized to your business. So I know that was a quick high-level overview of the whole platform, just at the high level. I know we can go a lot deeper into each individual product and get into the weeds, and we'd love for any of you on listening to this to reach out to do so. And we'd love to get into what's specific to your business, how can we achieve that centralized segmentation, and how we can integrate to your end data destinations. With that wraps up our high-level product demonstration, and I'm going to pass it back to Jake for final remarks.
All right, Drew, I'm going to bring some slides back up. And as I do, a quick reminder that we want to answer some questions now, if possible. If you've got questions out there and you have something that you want to run past Drew or myself, would love to talk about it and answer those right now. And while you're entering those into the Bright Talk chat, we did get some that just came in through as you were giving your demo, Drew. So let's tackle those first. But reminder, we've got a few minutes here before we wrap up. If you have any additional questions, please let us know. So first question, Drew, and I may need to give you presenter mode back for this. Do you need to use, as you were kind of going through the collection part, on the tag management side, do you need to use Tealium IQ tag management, or are other options for getting tag-based client-side data into Tealium?
That's a great question. If you want to actually share screen again, great. So, one of the things is around the data collection in our specific data sources. And if we actually jump into the data sources tab, I'll show you that from a web-based collection, we always recommend Tealium IQ. It's a foundational product, and it's definitely a leader in the space. But if you're already utilizing a tag management system and it's something that's in place and ingrained in your business, we want to make sure that we're able to collect that information. So whether it is Google Tag Manager or Adobe Launch, we have the ability to connect directly and bring data in to our server-side products. Additionally, if you're not using a tag manager or you want to utilize custom JavaScript, we can do that as well. We really want to enable you to bring data in from any data source with any language or any software that you currently exist or currently has in place, and help unify that in a centralized location.
Yeah, I would add on to that from my perspective. We take a data first approach to our platform. The data is what we feel is kind of the foundational thing to go get in order to drive outbound customer experience and insights. And so, we're vendor neutral, we're agnostic. We want our customers to work with the tools that they love. As Drew said, if you spend a lot of time developing on Google Tag Manager and that's in place today, and you're really just kind of looking for some of those downstream things like building audiences that Drew went through, we wanted you to be able to do that, or at least have the capability to collect data from anywhere that's important for your business. And so, yeah, that's Tealium Tag Management. As Drew said, recommended. It's a leader in the space for a reason, but we want you to be able to work with the tools that you love as our customer. Okay, Drew, next question. And you went through a little bit really quickly on visitor stitching, but maybe let's just spend 2 more minutes there. How do you recognize the same customer across different technologies? We did a web-based stitch, but maybe somebody's browsing on an app and then comes back onto a desktop to make that purchase. How does that work in Tealium?
Yeah, great question. So one, Tealium is able to track unknown visitors directly out of the box. That is a huge piece in itself. Those unknown individuals who are anonymous and are browsing, and then there are many customers who are utilizing Tealium specific for those unknown because maybe most of their logins don't actually happen. When you think about publishers with no authentication, we need to understand what someone's browsing or what articles are someone's browsing, and they may never actually subscribe or never actually purchase. That is a huge issue for many customers, and we help them enable this anonymous tracking. When it comes to the known space, or how do we tie across device, when someone does log in, when they create a purchase, we capture any identifier that is unique to that customer and is specific to your business. So if you place a customer ID, if you place a subscriber ID, all of those are unique variables in which we're able to classify as visitor IDs in your own identity, identity graph that you set up within the platform. Now, when one of those IDs match, when you have that identifier on your mobile device, when you click through an email and now you're on your desktop device, we stitch that together. We replay all of that information, and all of that comes in to that unified visitor profile for you to specifically activate on. So that's just device to device. Now, if someone calls in from a call center and I've created a purchase, I'm checking in on my order, we may want to bring that information in. In that case, can we utilize a phone number? Can we utilize the specific customer ID that's utilized in the purchase? All of those are unique to your business, and they unify the data together. They create that robust visitor profile. And now each device that is tracking the visitor anonymously and known, those all will update the visitor profile in real time. It's a powerful identity resolution solution specific to Tealium Audience Stream.
And you could see as well in that demo as your profile was even stitched after a quick session, and then all of the historical data that was replayed back into it. Hey, we do know Drew. We do know that he's, a multiple time customer. This is his lifetime value to us. This is how, his favorite products, his things that he goes to most often. That stitch is important to bring all of that context back into what was an anonymous profile, now a known profile, and we're making it more complete at that point. All right, third question. You mentioned, and we touched on integrations in the integration marketplace. What happens if we don't have an integration where, something might be custom built for a customer or a prospect, it might be an in-house solution. What happens at that point?
Yeah, great question. And I'll jump back into the UI just quickly again, and I'll go into Event Stream. This is the same for Audience Stream as well. We provide you the flexibility to utilize what we call webhooks. So there's many times when internal teams have built a in-house CRM. They've built a in-house database. They really need to send data to your end data warehouse. And in that case, we're probably not going to have a pre-built integration for something that's custom in-house. We have webhooks both across authentications to make sure that we can stream data to your end data destination. Additionally, if there's a demand for a common vendor that you don't see within the marketplace, we'll continually update and add new vendors based on custom demands and new APIs that come to market. This is something that we'll continue to do. So if you are a customer, if you're looking to be a customer, reach out, ask us if we have that integration. And we also have a great place at tealium.com/integrations to check if we do. And if we don't, we'll prioritize it for you and we'll build it for you. But these are just some of the ways that you can easily integrate with Tealium and even integrate to your own data warehouse if it's internally built.
Nice. So I see we've got a little bit of a flashing red light here. There are a couple of other questions in the chat that we're not going to be able to get to today. We will follow up with you offline in order to get those questions answered. I want to just say thank you to everybody for joining and spending some time with Drew and Audrey and myself. Thank you. And if we can answer any questions for you, be of help, as Drew said, please reach out to us. We want to talk with you about that. Just a quick aside, as I pull these up here, if you want to go through more CDP use cases, there are some attachments in the tab below. You can learn about how Tealium can help your organization reach its customer data goals. We wrote this Joy of Data cookbook, which has, I think it's over 20 CDP use cases across privacy, personalization, achieving a single customer view. So we went through one today. But that Joy of Data cookbook is going to take you through a bunch of CDP recipes that you might be able to go through. We've also built a really handy and definitive guide to customer data platforms. If this is your first time just jumping into CDPs, this is a great guide to kind of go from beginner to kind of expert level on what is a CDP, would my business benefit from it, all the way out to how do I staff the CDP now that I've kind of bought into it. Great guide. And then the Inside the Customer Data Hub, that is kind of a product level overview. If you want to dive any deeper into any of the different products and components of the Tealium Customer Data Hub, that's a great resource for you to go through. But again, thank you for joining Drew and I and Audrey today. If we can answer any questions for you along the way, please reach out to us. And we hope everybody has a great day. Thanks, everybody.